Hey anime fans! Today we're diving into 12 hidden gem isekai romance anime you probably slept on. From awkward heroes to chaotic love triangles, these shows are packed with magic, drama, and some seriously spicy feels. Kicking off with number 12, The Master of Ragnarok and Blesser of Einherjar. So, this one's a classic. Guy gets transported and suddenly super popular with warriors set up. Yuto ends up in a Norse-inspired world, and yeah, it's as ridiculous as it sounds. You've got political drama, epic battles, and girls who basically swoon the second he flexes. Honestly, the pacing can feel slow sometimes, and Yuto is kind of a nerdy fish out of water. But that's the charm. Watching him stumble through Norse politics while managing harem vibes is peak comedy. The romance isn't super deep, but it's sweet and awkward, which makes it way more relatable than your usual overpowered hero. Also, props for the animation. Battle scenes hit hard, and the setting? Gorgeous Nordic landscapes. If you like a mix of strategy, fantasy, and mild romance awkwardness, this one's a gem. This is Emiverse Anime. Watch this video to the end and hit that subscribe button now. Sliding to number 11, Cautious Hero. The hero is overpowered but overly cautious. This anime is basically, what if a hero was ultra prepared to the point of insanity? Seiya's obsession with planning is hilarious, but also painfully relatable if you've ever overthought life decisions. Comedy aside, the fantasy world itself is chaotic, filled with monsters and magical chaos that our hero basically expects at every turn. The romance? Totally under the radar, but the chemistry between Seiya and Restarte sneaks up on you. Watching Restarte roll her eyes at his overcautious antics? Comedy gold. It's like a buddy sitcom set in an epic fantasy world with hints of romantic tension that will make you smile. Honestly, Seiya might be overpowered, but his social skills are questionable. That awkward romance plus over-the-top heroics? Yeah, it's a winning combo. Landing on number 10, Spirit Chronicles. Seirei Gensuki, the classic reincarnated with dual memories plot that somehow never gets old. Haruto's mix of street-smart knowledge and newfound magical powers makes for fun storytelling, plus the romance subplot is actually well-paced here, not just slapped on like in other isekai. The harem elements are there, sure, but the girls aren't just decorative. They have motivations, personalities, and even some moments where they roast the main guy. The villain drama can get a bit heavy-handed, but that's just seasoning for the emotional beats. Plus, the series knows when to throw in humor, like when Haruto tries to navigate aristocratic life and completely fails at subtlety. Fans of character-driven romance and smart protagonist anime will feel right at home here. Looking at number 9, Arifureta, From Commonplace to World's Strongest. Okay, Arifureta is a wild ride. Hajime starts as the most forgettable guy in his class and suddenly becomes a dungeon-crushing badass. The romance angle? Honestly, Yue is the saving grace. She's cute, deadly, and carries most of the heart of the story. The pacing can be jarring. One minute you're in despair, the next he's slicing monsters like it's nothing. But it's addictively watchable. Some might roast the show for overpowered protagonist syndrome, but the dynamic between Hajime and Yue balances it out. There's genuine chemistry, tender moments, and even funny banter amidst dungeon horrors. And let's be honest, watching an average guy turn into a literal monster-slaying legend is cathartic. The action, the romance, the edgy tone, all hit different if you're in the mood for dramatic fantasy. Sliding to number 8, the world's finest assassin gets reincarnated in another world as an aristocrat. Now here's a series that screams professional assassin meets high-class politics. Our main guy isn't just overpowered, he's methodical, calculating, and surprisingly relatable in his quest to avoid failure. Romance is subtle, but when it hits, it lands hard because it's intertwined with his life-or-death stakes. I love how the show balances strategy with emotional stakes. The love interest isn't just decoration, she actively impacts the plot. Villains get roasted subtly by his genius moves, and honestly, seeing him outsmart everyone feels deeply satisfying. If you're a fan of clever protagonists, emotional tension, and romance that's woven into epic fantasy rather than slapped on, this is a can't miss. It's like Assassination meets heartfelt story building, with just the right dose of fan service for dramatic flair. Looking at number 7, No Longer Allowed in Another World. Alright, this one is basically Isekai Exile Edition. The main character is kicked out of a fantasy world and has to survive in the real world, which sounds simple, but it's executed brilliantly. The romantic angle is slow burn, subtle, and actually realistic. It's more about character growth than let's have magic sparks fly immediately. There's comedy in how he fumbles between worlds, and some moments hit surprisingly hard emotionally. Villains aren't super prominent, which is refreshing, letting character relationships take center stage. If you're tired of repetitive tropes and want romance that feels earned, this anime is a gem. It's quirky, clever, and balances humor with heartfelt romance moments. Perfect for fans who like a slower, more deliberate isekai experience. Sliding to number 6, The Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity. Yes, the title alone is a mood. This anime is elegant, subtle, and focuses heavily on character interactions and romance politics. The protagonist's growth is slow and satisfying, and there's a lot of tension in how relationships develop. The romance isn't explosive, but is filled with tiny gestures, glances, and witty exchanges that make you grin like an idiot. Sometimes it drags a little, but the payoff is worth it. It's like sipping fine tea while watching subtle drama unfold. The characters are nuanced, with motivations that feel real. If you're into romance-heavy isekai, where emotional stakes and personal growth are prioritized over dungeon slaying, this one's a must-watch. Also, the animation? Gorgeous. Every flower metaphorically blooms on screen. Landing on number 5, Fudanshi Summoned. Transported to another world and loved by a divine beast. This is pure comedy gold. Think over-the-top romance with a guy who's accidentally the center of everyone's affections. It parodies isekai tropes while still delivering genuine character moments. The main character is awkward, hilarious, and the interactions with the divine beast are simultaneously ridiculous and oddly heartwarming. It's a short ride, but packed with laughs, and the romance is absurdly fun. Very meta, very self-aware. The villains, if you can call them that, barely stand a chance against this comedic chaos. Honestly, if you need a palate cleanser from serious heavy isekai, this one's like a sugar rush. You'll laugh, you'll cringe, and maybe even ship the chaos. It's messy, it's fun, and that's exactly why it works. Sliding to number 4, The Executioner and Her Way of Life. Dark, emotional, and surprisingly romantic for a series about, well, execution. Menu's world is brutal, and the show doesn't shy away from how grim it can be. But amidst all the darkness, there's tenderness in the way she connects with others. Romance is subtle, nuanced, and bittersweet, which makes it hit even harder. The pacing is tight, the stakes are real, and every interaction feels consequential. This isn't a feel-good fantasy. It's the kind that leaves you thinking, and yet, the moments of quiet affection make it worth it. Villains? You'll hate them in the best way possible. It's clever, intense, and heart-tugging. A perfect combo for viewers who like their romance layered with grit. Looking at number 3, Jobless Reincarnation. I will seriously try if I go to another world. Mushoku Tensei, the OG modern isekai. Rudius starts as a mess of a man-child, but watching him grow into a competent, caring adult is strangely addictive. The romance is slow-burn perfection, layered, realistic, and tied to his growth. It's not just love at first sight. It's messy, awkward, and satisfying. The world-building is top-tier, magic is fun, and the side characters are more than just background. Sure, some might find early episodes cringe, but by the time the story gets rolling, the depth of relationships and stakes makes up for it. Also, moments of comic relief are perfectly timed. It's like watching a lifetime of character development in epic fantasy form. Absolutely binge-worthy. Sliding to number 2, Tsukimichi Moonlit Fantasy. Tsukimichi is chaotic, hilarious, and completely unhinged, in the best way. Makoto gets transported to a fantasy world, gets abandoned by the goddess, and then builds his own empire because why not? Romance is subtle but sweet, and the banter with his companions? Comedy gold. Villains get roasted left and right, and Makoto's nonchalant attitude makes for endless absurd scenarios. The fan service is heavy, yes, but it's self-aware and doesn't take itself too seriously. This is the kind of isekai that's pure entertainment. Over-the-top adventures, hilarious misunderstandings, and surprising emotional beats. If you want romance mixed with chaos, fantasy, and comedy that keeps you laughing episode after episode, this is a must-watch. Landing on number 1, By the Grace of the Gods. This one is pure heart. Ryoma gets reincarnated into a peaceful fantasy world, living a low-stress life surrounded by adorable slimes. The romance is subtle but genuine, and the slow-burn storytelling makes every small moment feel cozy and rewarding. It's basically the anime equivalent of a warm blanket, calm, soothing, and surprisingly sweet. Villains? Minimal, because this anime isn't about conflict. It's about living, learning, and enjoying simple joys. If you're tired of high-stakes, overpowered protagonist nonsense and want a gentler, heartfelt story with wholesome romance, this one is a perfect fit. Plus, the slimes are adorable, and I'm not above admitting I cried a little. And that's our countdown of 12 isekai romance anime you might have missed. From chaotic heroes to heartwarming slimes, these shows prove there's more to fantasy love than sword fights. Comment your favorite, smash that like button if you enjoyed, and subscribe for more anime deep dives, because trust me, the next list is going to blow your mind.